Juan, how are you?
Man, I'm good. Good to be talking with you, Dennis. How are you?
Brother, you got caught up in all the weirdness in this culture distilled down into
Wow.
one moment. And you know what? I can see that look in your eye. You've kind of shaken out good, but I think you're a guy, when I meet you backstage at things, I always think that seems like a good guy with some an easy vibe. And all of a sudden, you're in the middle of this complete goat stuff, and it must be a pain in the ass on one hand, right?
You know what? It's like you're in a tornado. You know, like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. You think, wait a minute. I was hiding out. I'm just doing my job,
Just
you know.
doing
And then all of a sudden, I'm at the top of the universe, and I'm looking down, and there's the farmhouse, and all these weird creatures are all around. And you know, you turn on the TV, and they're arguing about you. You open the paper, there's your face. You don't have to open the paper. You're on the front of the paper. It's like I've never been in this situation, Dennis. I didn't know what had happened.
Yeah, it happens. It happens quickly too, man. Listen, I don't like to get into the complete Hatfield and McCoy rancor in this country because, for one reason, I meet too many cats like you who I disagree with on most things, but I think, now there's a guy I'd hang with, or a decent man. I try not to judge people strictly through the D or the R. It gets boring.
It is, and you know that's what I've learned in lessons learned over the last 2 weeks. You know, through all the vilification and mudslinging at me, attempts to really, you know, tear down my reputation and call me a bigot and a psycho. You know, what I've learned is there are people in this world who, just because you want to talk to someone like a conservative, see you as a traitor, that you are now a bad man, Dennis. You are a criminal, and we're coming after your ass.
Yeah, it's bad, man. It is weird out there. Hey, listen, Juan, and I'm telling you, I'm not trying to evoke anything out of you here. I've been on the left and the right over the course of my 25 years in the public eye. Things shifted for me. Certain things happened in the world. You know, I don't have to go into all that part. I'm telling you, man, the left plays it much nastier, at least in I can't speak for you, but I found, man, I was gobsmacked when I first saw my picture turn up dressed as Adolf Hitler. My kid shows me, and I'm thinking, man, when the right hated me, I never got that.
Well, you know what, I mean, this is one of the lessons of my life, is I always thought it was the right wing that was intolerant and, you know, inflexible, rigid in terms of their ideology. If you can't disagree with them, you know, hey, what a shock. You said gobsmacked. I think that's what it is. For me to realize it's the left wing that's intolerant, and if you vary from their orthodoxy, that's when you become the outlaw.
Yeah, not only is it lockstep, man, but it ain't even a particularly fun dance step over there nowadays.
Well, you know what? I mean, and you know what? For me, remember, I deal with race relations, you know, and when you get in there, you really are a bad person because you're not their kind of black guy, Hispanic guy, woman, Asian. You don't fit. If you don't fit in the box, they will crush your, you know, they'll hurt you.
Hey, Juan, I remember watching you when Barack Obama, now, listen, like I said, we don't always agree,
right,
but it's always an astute take. I go, okay, I can listen to this cat. He's measured. He's got a take. Let me try to see what I'm missing maybe, or what firms up my belief the way I believe. And I remember after he got elected watching you and thinking, boy, I feel good for that cat tonight. I felt good for black people all across the country. I remember thinking, for so many years they weren't able to look up at that head job and have their own piece of it and think, that makes me feel so good. I remember watching you that night get a little choked up and thinking, that's a good feeling for a good man. And I don't know how it's gone. So listen, I got to be honest with you. When I hear that cat say stuff like destroy your enemies in a Hispanic interview, I think, my man, you're missing the point there. You got to be bigger than that. So
way bigger. And also for him, a guy that says, you know, that he stood for bipartisanship at one point, all of a sudden you want to destroy your enemies.
Well, you know what I sometimes get the feeling off him, Juan, is, and I'm not saying this to denigrate him. I am saying, though, if you think you're Dorothy in a house floating 40 feet above, what's it feel like for that cat? I know he wanted it. I know you solicited it. I know you got to run hard to become the president. Can you imagine that morning when you wake up and you no wonder it's heady wine. No wonder you get your head turned sometimes.
Right. Remember, Nobel Prize, too.
Yeah, no wonder. Well, hey, listen, man, he won the Cy Young that year, too, and he couldn't even pitch.
He might have won the Triple Crown.
They were just handing him out, baby. They gave him the Grammy, the Emmy, the whole deal. All right, now, Juan, let's take it out of your case and take it to next Tuesday. I think the House seems I don't know. Whenever I hear a fait accompli, I always think, boy, I don't know about that until it's done. But it's probably going to flip. I don't know if it's 80 seats, but it's probably going to flip. Senate probably gets close. How do you see that lame duck playing out, though, Juan? That's the thing I'm interested over. You know, do the Dems crash and burn it in those 2 months, or what play do they have?
Well, their play is that, you know what, I think they'll still control the Senate. I think there's going to be a narrow margin in which Republicans control the House. I don't think it's going to be 80 to 100 seats, which is what you hear from some people around the Capitol here today. I think it's more like, you know, they need about 45 to 50 seats to gain control. People say this number is 39, but remember, Democrats are going to win some are going to be hung up. You never know which way things will blow. The good thing for the Republicans is they have so many seats that where they're challenging Democratic incumbents, and Democrats have so few. So it could get higher, but if you're just asking me, Dennis, to give you an honest professional view right now, I'd say it's around the 50-seat level that Republicans will capture on Tuesday, and that will give them a very narrow margin of control in the House. So what does that mean? It means that President Obama has got to come out and play ball with Republicans in a way that he hasn't been doing in the past. Will Republicans play ball with him, or do they think it's to their advantage to continue their strategy, which is just to say, you know, we want nothing to do with you. We want nothing to do with your legislative agenda because we're setting you up to beat you in 2012. That's the question. And also, the secondary question is, how do people who are Tea Party people feel about people like John Boehner running the House of Representatives? Boehner's a Republican, but he's no Tea Party guy.
You want to know my first hire if Barack Obama loses the House and the Senate's even?
Tell me.
Honest to God, I'd hire Dick Morris. That guy. Listen, when Morris was in there with Clinton, you can say what you want about Morris, what you want about Clinton. They were pretty savvy in the way they played that ass kicking that happened in the mid-'90s. Clinton got some wisdom, and I think it ended up you know, listen, he's near and dear in a lot of people's hearts still. Even I look at him now. All those years I teased him, I look at him, I go, hey, he gets it more than Barack Obama gets it in my book.
He's the most revered former president now. Isn't that unbelievable? Remember, you know, what happened way back with Monica Lewinsky and all that? Apparently, you know what? Water over the bridge. Let's move on. And he's
something over the bridge. Listen, I got Millard Fillmore's corpse propped up on a gurney in my room here. It's like Weekend at Bernie's, baby. So I still revere him a little. Now, listen, let me tell you this, man. You got the right guy on your side because the big man, Irish, he's like an Irish cop, O'Reilly. Remember that cop that used to walk the neighborhood with the nightstick? And like, I always tell you, like a big Mick cop, Billy, and you got the best guy in your corner because he does not like when people get screwed over for the wrong reason. And, you know, you'll see now. Billy O, listen, sometimes I butt heads with him. I don't get all of it. But I do know this. If I'm going into an alley fight with Joy Behar or Bill O'Reilly, I'm taking Billy O'Reilly in because...
10 times out of 10, I'll take O'Reilly.
He will have your back, brother. All right, Juan, good to talk to you.
I thought, you know, they could jump ship on me here because I'm vulnerable. Boy, Bill O'Reilly stood tall, buddy.
Yeah, and Roger, listen, Roger wants to crush. Roger's like Conan the Barbarian. To meet the enemy on the field of battle, to crush him beneath your feet, and to hear the lamentations of his woman. That's Roger. And they are lamenting now, baby, and Roger's on him. So. All right, man, go get him, Juan. Good to talk to you, baby.
Thanks, Dennis.
Juan Williams, good guy. Every time I would talk to Juan backstage, it's just folks, it doesn't have to be as rancorous as it's gotten. And I'm putting that on the left. I'm telling you, I'm not doing this thing where it's completely fair and balanced all the time. And right, left, no. The left has gone a little batty and a little angry, and they're not getting the call to get rules on the game, and they're going to take their toys. It's the left who is nasty here now. Come on back. Let's have a talk. We're not going to agree on everything. There's some things Barack Obama can say out the wazoo I'm never going to agree with. But it does not have to be as nasty. Joy, you don't have to call that woman a bitch on day one. And when she sends you flowers, you don't have to call her a bitch again. Come on now. That's a week after you walked off on another guy you disagreed with. You can't even tamp that instinct down for 4 days? Come on now. Wise up over there. 866-509-7268. This is the Dennis Miller Show.